welcome back to our ISS online classes. As you all know that we have already started with chapter 10, the flowering of regional cultures part 1, and we have studied about the language and literature and painting that flourished during the medieval period, and today we are going to start with the second part of this chapter, and we are going to study the development in the field of music and the development in the field of dance, that how the music and the dance grew during the medieval period. So music, the first thing. Music prospered in India with the help of the arrival of the Turks. When the Turks, they arrived from the Turkey in India, that time the music, it prospered in India. Prospered means what? It grew. And there was a fusion of Persian, Arabic, Indian form of musical. Means what? Fusion means what? It was a combination. The music which arose from the combination of Persian and Arabic and Indian musical form, it resulted into the creation of a new form of music, or you can say it as a new style of music. Now, which all development was there, or which all changes were there during the Sultanate period, that we are going to study. So, during the Sultanate period, some new musical instruments like Rabab and Sarangi were introduced. Now, which two musical instruments were introduced during the Sultanate period? They were Rabab and Sarangi, and they were introduced to India by the Turk people, okay, by the Turkish people they were introduced. And as you all know that Amir Khusro, he was a great musician, plus he was a great poet, and what he did, he combined Persian and Indian melodies and produced several new ragas. So he did the combination and he combined Persian and Indian musical ragas, and which gave a form to the new musical ragas. And plus he also introduced Qawwalis. So Qawwalis was introduced by Amir Khusro and it popularized. It is a new form of music which was introduced during the Sultanate period. And he was a friend and disciple of Khwaja Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya. So you all have studied about the saint Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya. So he was a friend of this saint, plus he was a disciple. Disciple means what? He was the student of this saint. And whenever you know that in the Kankhas they used to have the musical form in the praise of the god, like Qawwalis were held. So he also, this Amir Khusro, he participated in musical gatherings at his Kankhas, and some historians, they believe that the musical instruments like sitar and dholak were invented by Amir Khusro. So who invented sitar and dholak? It was invented by Amir Khusro. And Firoz Shah Tughlaq was a patron of music. Means what? The Firoz Shah Tughlaq, he was supporting music during the Sultanate period, and the musical work Rag Darpan, which was the musical work, it is named as Rag Darpan, which was translated into Persian during his reign. Means this Rag Darpan, the musical form, or you can say whichever the ragas are there in that, all those ragas are translated into Persian languages by not by Firoz Shah Tughlaq, but during his reign. And Lihajat-e-Sikandar Shahi, a work on different forms of music, was written in the time of Sikandar Lodi. Now that during the Sultanate period, Sikandar Lodi was ruling in India, and during that time Lihajat-e-Sikandar Shahi, it's the name of a famous musical work, and it was written during his reign. His reign means what? During his period. Plus another form of music flourished during the Sultanate period, that is devotional music. We have already studied about devotional music in chapter 9. So it was also popularized by Bhakti movement, by Bhakti saints and Sufi saints. The Sufi saints, they organized musical gatherings in which the common people and the skilled musicians participated. Means what? Whenever any social gathering was there or musical gathering was organized, that time not only the skilled people means what? Who knows the ABCs of music, like how we are studying the chapters, right? So we know the basics. So basics means what? All the ragas are there, different swars are there. So they used to bring those people, and they used to have the musical gathering along with the skilled people. The common people were there. Plus, the Bhakti saints, they also use this devotional music to spread the message of Bhakti. like for example, we have studied about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Mirabai. They express their bhakti through devotional songs plus Mardana. Now we have studied about Guru Nanak, right? So Mardana was a disciple of Guru Nanak and he also popularized devotional singing. Means what? Singing songs in the praise of God. Then next, how the music flourished during the regional kingdoms, in the regional kingdoms. Now music was also patronized by the rulers of regional kingdoms like the rulers of Jaunpur and Gwalior. So especially the regions like Jaunpur and Gwalior, they also used to patronize. Patronize means what? They used to support financially or morally so that the music of India can grow. And two works on music, that is Bunyal ul Bunyas and Sangeet Siromani. The names are written. See, Bunyal ul Bunyas, Sangeet Siromani. Okay, so these were compiled in Jaunpur. In which state of India or which place it was compiled? It was compiled in Jaunpur. And Sultan Hussain Shah Sharki of Jaunpur. That time who was ruling Jaunpur? Sultan Hussain Shah Sharki of Jaunpur. He took great interest in music. And he is believed to have created many new ragas. So it is believed that this Sultan, he has created many new ragas. Plus Raja Man Singh Tomar of Gwalior. Now, who was ruling that time in Gwalior? Raja Man Singh Tomar, and he was also very fond of music. Plus, he wrote the musical work named as Man Kautuhal. Okay, Man Kautuhal. That is, Kutuhal means what? Curious, to become curious. So the name itself is called as Kutuhal. So curious of Raja Man. That is Man Kutuhal. And a distinctive style of music developed in the kingdom of Kashmir. So that time in Kashmir, a different form of music was developed and music also prospered in the states like Gujarat and Malwa. Then how did the music prosper in the Mughal period? Now as you know that when Mughals were ruling in India, that time music flourished, especially during the reign of Akbar. So Akbar was also a great patron of music and it is said that he employed 36 musicians in his court. How many musicians were there in the court? 36 musicians in Akbar's court. And it is recorded in the sources that are written by Abul Fazl, okay. So Abul Fazl has mentioned about 36 musicians in Akbar's court. And the most famous was Mian Tansingh. What was his name? Mian Tansingh. He composed many new ragas, the most popular among them being Raga Darbari and Raga Deepak. So, Raga Darbari and Raga Deepak, these were the ragas that were composed by Mian Tansingh. And it is said that every evening he sat in his seat in the middle of Anup Talao in Fatehpur Sikri and sang his melodious ragas. Means, where was that time Akbar's capital? It was in Fatehpur Sikri, and that time Mian Tansingh used to sit in the middle of the court and he used to sing his melodious ragas. Melodious means what? We say no, surili awaz mein apne gaane gana. So that is called melodious ragas. Plus Jahangir and Shahjahan. After Akbar, Jahangir and Shahjahan, they also employed the court musicians. But when Aurangzeb took place, what he did, he banned singing in court. What he did? He banned singing. Means he did not allow musicians to sing, but he did not stop the playing of musical instruments. Means what? He was allowing the musicians to play the musical instruments, but not singing. The singing was banned in his court because he was himself an accomplished veena player. So Aurangzeb was very good at playing veena. Plus several books on classic Indian music were written in Persia during his reign. Means when Aurangzeb was ruling that time, many classical books related to music were written in Persian language. Which language it was written? In Persian language. When the Mughal Empire declined, many musicians, they migrated to the regional kingdoms. Means what? When after Aurangzeb, the Mughal Empire started declining, and so all the musicians, they started migrating from this Mughal Empire to other regional kingdoms, and later music reached a peak under Muhammad Shah. When Muhammad Shah took over the charge, that time a music it reached to another peak. Peak means what? Another height पर जाना या ऊंचाई पे जाना. Okay, not that ऊंचाई of a mountain or means some achievement. So it reached under a new peak and that is called as Rangila. Now we will study about the next form, that is dance, and how the development, or you can say how the dance form flourished in India or it prospered during the medieval period. Now as you all know that India is having a vast culture and there are different forms of classical musics, classical dance forms are there. So most of these dance forms they began in temples. So Indian dance forms they started in temples, that is they began in temples. And for example Bharatnatyam is very good example of a temple dance form. Then it was patronized by Chola rulers. So who used to support this Bharatnatyam? Chola rulers were supporting, and other different dances like Kathakali, Kuchipudi, Odissi and Manipuri, they evolved in the different parts of the country. Now we will study about Kathak. Now Kathak was involved in the South India as a distinct dance form. Why it is distinct? Why it is different? Because the word Kathak is derived from the word Katha. Katha means what? Stories. The meaning of the word Katha is stories. And the Kathakars were the caste of a storytellers attached to temples. Means the one who used to tell these Kathas in their local languages, they used to tell some stories related to the god in their language, and by using the gestures. Means what? Gestures means what? Different facial expressions and songs. They used to tell stories in the praise of God. Thus Kathak was initially a devotional art form. Initially means what? In the beginning it was a devotional art form. Devotional means what? It is all related to bhakti. That's it. And when under the Mughal rule, the Kathak began to move from devotional to be performed at the court of kings. Means what? Only it was in the temples, but slowly when the Mughals started ruling in South India, that time these Kathakars they used to present their songs or dance in the court of kings. The costumes and style changed substantially. Means whichever the costumes or the style that the Kathakars used to perform in the temples, that changed in the courts of the kings, and substantially there were two schools or two gharanas developed. Means what? In Kathak dance two schools were there, or in Hindi it is called as two gharanas also, that is the Jaipur gharana and the Lucknow gharana. Which are the two gharanas? The Jaipur gharanas and the Lucknow gharanas. These are very famous for the Kathak dance. And Nawab Wajid Ali Shah, the last Nawab of Awadh, was a great patron of this dance form. Means what? Who was supporting this dance form? Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. He was the last Nawab of Awadh and he used to support this. Next we have a case study about Bengal. As you all know that how Bengal, the history of Bengal is that Bengal is having a very rich cultural heritage, and it has been the center of literature, art since ancient times. Means what? Many art forms are introduced in Bengal. The literature is also very rich in Bengal. So we have already studied about Bengal in some chapters. So let us study about this. As you all know that Bengal has a rich cultural heritage. So during the early medieval period, Bengal was under the rule of Pala rulers. Means when the starting of medieval period, who was ruling in Bengal? The Pala rulers. And in the 14th and 16th century, it was an independent regional kingdom. Means what? Nobody was ruling, but whosoever the kings were there, they were ruling that independent regional kingdom. It was not under the control of any sultans. But during this period, Ilyas Shahi dynasty and Hussain Shahi dynasty ruled Bengal. So during 14th and 16th century, which dynasties? Dynasties मतलब कौन सा खानदान रूल कर रहा था? Iyas Shahi dynasty and Hussain Shahi dynasty. And these kings of both dynasty, what they did? They used to patronize cultural activities. Cultural activities means what? Any dance form, music form, or any devotional form of bhakti, or anything that is related to culture, they used to patronize, they used to support them. And finally what happened? After these dynasties, the Bengal was controlled by Surs. Who was controlling? Surs. And after the Surs, finally who annexed Bengal? Annexed means what? Who captured Bengal? It was captured by Akbar, and he made a separate province. Separate province means what? He made a separate region of Bengal, and the administrative system of Bengal was different from other states. Now, which are things that are famous in Bengal that we are going to study? For example, monuments, language, literature, painting, music. So in these fields, how Bengal is different from other states. Now, monuments, there are some famous medieval monuments. For example, Kotwali Darwaza. The Kotwali Darwaza, it is from the medieval period, which is still now famous in Bengal, and there are 5 masjids, and because of these masjids, the Bengal is still famous. The names are Tanipara, Darasbari, Chamkatil, Chota Sona and Bara Sona. These are the names of the masjids, and they are very famous. And when the construction was done, that time brick was used on a large scale. Bricks was used and stones was used only occasionally. Occasionally means what? Very rare or few. Only when it is required, that time it was used. And the decoration which was done on the walls of these monuments, it was done in terracotta. And plus a large number of temples were constructed in Bengal during the medieval period, and most were the modest bricks were used and the terracotta structures were there. And generally there were 4 roof structures. How many roof structures were there? 4 roof structures with 4 roof triangulars moving up to converge at a point. Means what? From the 4 sides, like a dome shaped it was, like from, if you are observing anything from the 4 sides, okay, so it was like converging at the point. So these are called as the 4 roof, or you can say 4 triangular roofs. Then for example, Bishunpur, or it is called as Vishnupur. So this place is having such temples which is having this type of structure. And the other examples of these are Rasamancha, Jor Bengal and Radhasham. So all these are the names of the temples which is having this style of structures. Plus the outer walls of these temples are covered with terracotta tiles that depict scenes from the epics. Means the tiles which are there on the outer side of these temples, they are depicting some scenes from the epics. Epics means what? Like Ramayana, Mahabharata or Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so they are showing the scenes from that. Now the language that was there in the Bengali. Now you know that Bengal, they speak Bengali. So Bengali, it was developed during this period, medieval period, and it is derived from Sanskrit. So the Bengali is derived from which language? It was derived from Sanskrit language, and many words from Persian language and European language, they were also introduced in Bengali, and still now these languages are used. Plus a language received a boost from the compositions of Bhakti saints Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he composed songs or hymns related to gods, that time this language, it got a boost. Boost means what? It became more rich and it grew because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then next we have about literature. That how the literature, it flourished in the Bengal during the medieval period. Now many Sanskrit classics were translated in Bengali. So during medieval period, whichever the classics were there, or books that were written in Sanskrit, they were translated into Bengali language. Then Sultan Alauddin Hussain and Nusrat Shah were the patron of cultural activities. So who were the patron of cultural activities? Sultan Hussain, Alauddin Hussain and Nusrat Shah, they were the patron of cultural activities. The former engaged scholars to translate the Ramayana and Mahabharata into Bengali. And that time what they did, that they engaged the scholars to translate these epics into the Bengali language, so that the Bengali people can enjoy the essence of these epics. Then Maladhar Basu, a famous poet. Which poet? Maladhar Basu. He is a famous poet of Bengal, and he translated Bhagavad Purana into Bengali. Which book he translated? Bhagavad Purana. Plus he also compiled Sri Krishna Vijaya. What did he compile? Sri Krishna Vijaya into Bengali language. Next is painting, that how painting developed in the Bengal. Now as you all know that how painting is rich, so hundreds of illustrated manuscripts from the Hussain Shahi period have been found. Means many manuscripts from the Hussain Shahi period, they have been illustrated into the Bengal, into the books, and plus the paintings of the Bengal resembles the painting of the Sultanate period. Means what? Especially from the paintings which are there, they are from the Sultanate period. Then we have the music, the last part of this chapter. Now music, particularly folk music, prospered in Bengali. What is folk music? Folk music means what? It is related to a particular region. So it flourished in Bengal, and the most popular was ball singing. What was the name? It was ball singing. Now it was sung by a religious group called the Balls. Religious group means what? जो भक्ति भाव के लोग रहते थे, those group was called as Ball in Bengal, and those people when they were singing, that is called as ball singing. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he popularized devotional songs, and these songs were sung in chorus. Chorus means what? In a group, and plus it was accompanied by instrumental music, and that is why it is called as Kirtana. We are saying no bhajan kirtan karna. So this Kirtana was developed in Bengali, you can say in Bengal, and still it is popular in Bengal, and it is also flourished in other parts of India, because we have got the examples from the Bengal. And here we come to end our chapter 10, that is the flowering of regional cultures. If you have any doubts in this chapter, you can ask me on Google Meet, and I will send you the exercises and the short answers and long answer questions in the form of PDF. Please copy them in your notebook, especially the short and long answers. Thank you so much.